All right, welcome everybody to another event of the Bookmap Academy every Thursday at the market close, and it's a part of the the Discord community that we have. Anyone can join it, and it's free. I can show you how to join it if you're interested, and we'll just kind of go through and define what it is. So I see a lot of new faces in here, so we do this usually every time anyway. Just go to bookmap.com, click on the more button, and then under community here down at the bottom, you'll see Bookmap Academy. Click on that. You can read about what it is here. And we've you don't have to partake in it to in this process to join the meetings and partake in the Discord chat room. You can still do that regardless. If you want to take it further, though, you can apply. You can then you apply for the Bookmap Junior Academy. You're an applicant, and you start creating content. And we're going to go through examples of that content now. And it is your journaling of your trades, and we'll give you feedback on them. So that's the process here. Now, if you make a threshold quota of one content per day, one piece of content or one journal of your trading marked up well, it has to be quantitative of one per day as well as qualitative. It has to be a certain level. Then you can be invited to the Bookmap Academy. When you're an Academy member at this point here, you get Bookmap for free. If you double your quota, just 2 trades per day, you can also get the Stops and Icebergs add-on free in here as well. Okay, so you continue on doing the same thing that you ever did. You just are journaling your trading, you're building out your playbook, you're getting better at building your edge. And then you can be invited for the next step here is a coach. And you will kind of basically turn back around and give feedback now to the Junior Academy and Academy members. So that's basically the process. You can take it, you get data for free plus everything else from before. And then you can be invited also to take it one step further as a Bookmap Academy streamer. We have a couple of Academy members, Tom and Doug, are both streamers here at Bookmap on our Discord channel, and they came from the Academy. All right, so that's the process if you're interested, and that's what we're going to go through in here. So there's a few updates here. I've been showing this for the last 3 weeks or so, or 4 weeks. Like we have an Bookmap onboarding event. I'll host it. It's on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. And we're going to it's East Coast time. We're going to go through the basics of Bookmap, to logging into bookmap.com, downloading the version, installing it, adding data or subscribing to data, adding an instrument, and getting up and running. Okay, very, very straightforward. It's only half an hour. If you're interested, we have a link for you that we can provide here in the chat. And then the criteria for the Bookmap Academy. If you guys have any questions, you can reach out in the Academy room, and we can go through, what the criteria is that I just kind of briefly mentioned. We're looking for a setups checklist and a progression as well, from marking up your charts here on the left-hand side to refining it into a playbook strategy for yourself to really build out your edge. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, that's the Academy. So that said, we've got the coaches here. We've got David and we've got Vinny, and we'll start going through your stuff. So let's see, David. I think I've got you here, and let's start with let's start with John. John, we didn't go over last week, so he's up first. If he's in the room. John in here?
I don't see him at the moment.
Okay.
I've got Sharkbalu's in,
Ah,
Malik's in, but he can't speak at the moment. So we could, if we're doing one of mine, we could go to Mr. Balu.
okay.
That works for you.
Yeah. All right, let's do
Apologies
that.
if I missed you, John, and you're in there and I can't see you, buddy, but
Yeah, I don't see him. Oh. Uh, okay. So
we got the sound.
let's
You there,
bring up
Shark?
Shark. So you're kind of cutting out a little bit, David. I don't know um,
Okay.
what happened to your
Well,
mic all of a sudden. You were crystal clear just minutes ago.
yeah, I'm going to shut down. Let me shut down Bookmap.
Unless you
How's that
all of a
sound?
sudden got a gravelly voice.
There you go. Jimmy Stogies.
Am I audible?
You
Yes.
are, buddy. Good evening, afternoon, and good morning.
Hello, hello.
How you keeping?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Back after, I think, I've been up for 3 weeks, Bruce, haven't I? I think so. I've had a bit of a...
Yeah. You've been away. So you've been missed.
That's enough. Thank you, sir. Likewise. Right. Great shot. Great chart in here by you, Shark. So appreciate that. I know you were about a good few weeks ago, so you've sort of been taking on some of the points. So we've got 3 charts here, Bruce. We've got the sort of high-level tick chart. Then we're into the weeds of the bookmap chart, standard bookmap chart. And then we've got the more familiar footprint chart that Shark has been using. Should we start with the tick chart if we can, Bruce? That sort of sets the scene, and I really love this. I like you talking about ORB. We've got the familiar trader VIX stuff. We love all of that. Similar sort of move we had today in terms of the market opened, went up in one direction, and then very promptly went the other way. But let me throw the mic to you, if I may, Shark, and you can talk us through, please.
So same trade model.
Yeah.
It's a sandwich, a key level sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, I'm looking at key level demand down below along with the opening range. And as a target, up ahead off that chart, you can't see it. There's a supply zone up there that price did eventually make it to after a bunch of back and forth. But in this case, my target is my trend line pivot high. So just really trying to focus on not getting myself stuck in that kill zone consolidation at the bottom where we just have responsive transaction between buyers and sellers kind of back and forth, back and forth. I like that more Laura type of entry where she's very patient, waiting for that kill zone to break and get in on the move.
Nice. And you got some nice candle patterns there. I might wind Bruce up a bit. Just on the left of that 2B, those hammer candles. I know that they're only good when they really work, but you can really sort of see what's going on as you crashing through that ORB level. Does that sort of
Right.
hit your
So
radar
where that candle wicks through that trend line pivot low,
Yeah.
if Trader Vic's rules are very strict. I of course take lots of liberties with them because I'm not investing with daily candles here. I'm looking at a 400 tick chart. But where that wick breaks that trend line pivot low, technically that's the failure of the 1, 2, 3 reversal, and that's where the 2B rule kicked in. So by Vic's rules, his entry would be right at the close of that candle that whipped through the trend line pivot low. It's super tight entry, super tight stop. You'd have to be really fast to nail that on a 400 tick chart.
Right here is what you're talking about.
Actually, the candle with the wick where the 2B is.
Oh, really? So right in here, you're getting in. Wow.
Yeah, and on a 400 tick chart, that you'd have to be just lightning fast. But I just wanted to kind of notate that's where the 2B rule kicks in. 1, 2, 3R has failed, but of course, you see pressure in those candles below, and price continues accordingly as per the pattern. Right out of the open, the 1 minute opening range, and right where it bounces off that minor rally high multiple times as resistance, the yellow line, and then she breaks high and goes.
She goes, yeah. You've obviously settled into the 1 minute ORB, which is what I do and Laura does and others. If Jack was on the call, he'd be saying, I think he does 30 minutes. Have you played around with them, or you've just gone straight to M1?
I used to look at the 30-minute candle, and I'm sure
Cool.
this was wrong in one way or another, but I was looking at the 30-minute candle before the opening bell, not after it.
Yeah.
And I'd look for the break of that candle. And I played with it for a while.
Mhm.
But once I started watching you and Laura with the 1 minute, I made the switch. And after reading Shire's book as well.
Yeah, no, it's a blind of a book. I love that one. Bruce, can we nip down to the bottom chart? It's one of my charts, Shark, and it's I love your tick chart there. So if you can come out there, Bruce, and this, I mean, most of you or guys been in the room before. Is it on there, Bruce? It's not. That's the one.
This one.
So yeah, that one there. So I'm not looking to sort of go through my Picasso here, Shark, but this is a tick chart. This is a 600 chart. I run a 600 and I run a 375. So it's sort of in the same sort of lane speed that you're running at. What I was thinking about, maybe you may have done it already, or you could do it, is just play around looking at some sort of, I throw them under the collection of CVDs at the bottom. Obviously, a tick chart speaks for itself when you're watching it because it's moving faster when there's more price action going through. This is from today. So when we opened at 13:30 UK time, you can see there's a lot of selling, lot of going through, real good clues going on there. LO for London Open. Sorry, that should be New York Open. My bad. And then the red selling stops. So as well as me looking at a tick chart, as you look at a tick chart, I've also captured some CVD. So my takeaway point here to anyone who's using, whether it's a tick chart or something, is don't be shy, perhaps, of adding other indicators in there to complement what you're trying to do with that perhaps longer time frame chart. Have you ever done something like that,
Right.
sir?
Right. Well, I'm watching cumulative volume delta and delta at individual 5-minute rotations on my other screens.
Nice.
But I see the bottom of your chart there where you got all that sell delta,
Yep.
and it kind of exhausts out and then
It
flips to the buy
does.
side.
It does. Yeah, and it pretty much caught there's many things on it I use. There's that thick blue line, Bruce, which is the sort of second up thing, which is it's called a KB2, and then that just it's horizontal, which is not telling you a great deal, and then it goes nearly vertical, Bruce, at 13:45. That is a reversal. That's a monster reversal. Within that, you've also
That's
got you got a MACD and some other dark arts going on, as well as
that
then
blue
the
line.
it's
That blue
brutal.
line is it's literally right at the break of what I
It
would
is.
tag the minor rally high in that trend there.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of complexity within what happens within the KP2. It's looking at the order book, limit orders, market orders, and there's a whole lot of black cats going on. But anyway, we should get back to Bookmap, Bruce, before I run away on that. But yeah, just a point for all of us to think. You have the longer time frame chart or something. Don't be afraid of maybe playing around on the weekend. Perhaps, Bruce, we could go to the middle Bookmap chart, and we can get Shark to talk us through what he was actually getting up to, and then we can maybe go to the footprint, please, sir.
Here, 26th, 21st.
So what
Yeah, so
Mark's
kind of
got time
kind kind
zone
of
and moment.
everything kind of aligned right here.
Yeah.
I get my CVD VPI lower spikes. That's my long signal
Mm-hmm.
as price is starting to look like it's going to break that trend line we were just looking at.
Yeah.
As price moves up above that minor rally high, and I used to use, before I got into Bookmap and order flow, I used to use that level at the rally high, the sell off low, as my entry level. And as we've seen many times, that gets me into the kill zone too early. In this case, it just kind of lined up with order flow. You got the VPOC break there as well, break high, retest, and move up. So just got in the trade right there
Nice.
and watched it head up towards the trend line high, which was
Beautiful.
in reality a pretty just quick and steady rise.
It's a lovely trade. It's a lovely trade. The thing on the left hand side, Bruce, and again, those traders that see me post in Discord, those big, fat, tall, green, or they can be red, obviously, delta volume bars. We're going to see a bit of that later on John's chart. It's just such a scream of like, yeah, which direction are we going, buddy? Yeah, love it.
So
Right, and you see my exit.
hmm
This goes back to what we were talking about last week, where I've I'm been complaining about trailing myself out of the trade
Yeah,
too early. And like Bruce said, you hit your target. Good point to get out. Uh, I still see, even if I try not to, I still see where that trade goes after I get out, and that coulda, shoulda, woulda moment where I'm like, man, I could have held a runner, I could have stayed in, but I trailed
yeah,
myself out. So in this case, I kept a runner on,
nice.
and was following it up. Of course, I still feel like I trailed myself out too tight because that price just continued up into that supply zone I had a little higher up there. But still, just gotta learn to not always want more, right? I hit my target, I'm good with my
Yeah,
target. I even got an extra 5 points out of that runner.
yeah. Today was again, refer to John because I'll say, John, you and I were sort of trading similar a little bit today. That I kept a couple of runners going and they came my way, but there's other days you keep a couple of runners and suddenly you're back at your stop. You think, what happened there? So it's yeah. You got to play it. You got to play it, haven't you?
Yeah, and right there in between that exit at the target and that runner exit, we get that what screams at me, get out of the trade. It's not always right, of course, but the opposite, the opposing CVD VPI spike up at the top, which is my signal short, right? The difference in this one is CVD stayed slammed to the extreme. It did not pull back with VPI, which is another signal that, hey, this may not be a reversal.
Yeah.
It may just continue to grind.
Gotcha. Shall we go to the footprint chart and then maybe we can bring in Vinny if that works, please?
I'm very new to the footprint, and my current goal, I watch this thing all day, every day, and I grab these levels off these 5 minute rotations based on delta and volume, and I just grab it with the rectangle and I drag it out to the right, and I'm just observing what participants do, act or react as price revisits that level, and it's been really eye opening. I'm just gonna keep doing that. And I'm kind of leaning into where I see a lot of delta, like that dark, dark green or that dark, dark red,
Yeah.
as well as where I'm seeing more volume. And just dragging it out to the right, I'm finding it to quite often be a really good intraday level as price comes back to it and revisits it. But you see on this one, I have that box mapped out at the top. My trendline pivot high, where I drew my 123R on the other chart.
up here,
Price getting up to that.
up here, Vinny. I mean,
To the left on the other chart.
over here.
Yeah, right
Okay,
there.
okay.
And on the footprint chart, you could see it. It's that lower line of the big rectangle at the top, right there, exactly. So that's my trendline pivot high, my initial target. Just to the left of that, you see that that 5 minute rotation with the monster volume and the monster buy side delta. That's kind of that. I don't know, what do I want to call that? Like a delta unwind, right? We got a ton of delta, and then sellers step in at that absorption at the top, and then our trend moves back down. That's that target area for my key level sandwich. But we get the same thing on the other end, except buying, right? buyers stepping in with that same thing, monster delta, monster volume, and that's where I enter the trade as price breaks that bar.
Here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, nice entry.
Yeah, definitely.
Vinny.
Yes, hello everybody. Yes, David, welcome
Vinny.
back.
Thank you,
Yes.
sir. Thank you.
All right, all right. I'm sure you probably spent some time at St. Andrews during your 3-week vacation, but Shark, yes, I see your trade. It's magnificent. Bruce, would you mind going to frame number 3 of his, if you don't mind?
I'm sorry, which one?
Oh, the top one. Oh, the top one.
This one.
Yeah, that one.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, right there. Right. I can just see right off the bat you have your trend break, so which is really nice. So that's that and looks like that's where you entered, right where you have your number 3. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay. Right. I mean, heck, you can change this to this trade, name it like a trader Sharkbalu 123A+. This is an excellent setup that you have here. And you could also look in your demand zone. You have it's like a triple bottom or a quadruple. You got four bottoms there. So a really nice consolidation in that demand zone. It's rejecting going lower, and then you have your trend break for number 3 in your trade setup, which is terrific. I really like the way you have your exit right at your trending pivot high. So that was an excellent setup that you have there. I just had a question. I'd like to know, since you've been doing this so often, these trades, I mean, you have a pretty big following, so they're really terrific. Maybe you can share with us a little bit about your risk reward. Also, I didn't quite get your time frame that you're using. And also number 3, regarding how you calculate your demand and supply zones. I think the audience would like to hear that. And I did hear about David talk about your CVD VPI. I know you use that quite a bit, and on your sub chart, which is terrific as part of the MBO package. That was awesome the way you use that as well. I know we talked a little bit about you were just a little hesitant sometimes to let runners run. I just heard that most of your trade off at that trend line pivot, and I believe you mentioned you let another one of your contracts continue onward. I also have a question next to you, but yeah,
right there where Bruce is hovering is where I trailed myself out with that extra runner. So didn't go all the way to supply, but it did grab five-ish more points.
Okay, so you applied what we spoke about last week then?
I'm attempting to apply it, yes.
Yeah, very good. Okay, excellent. That's excellent. So if you don't mind just sharing with us if you know anything about your risk reward, your time frame, and how do you calculate your demand and supply zones, if you don't mind, briefly.
Okay, so risk reward, I've always placed my targets and my stops on structure. And I'm not calculating like a 1-to-1, a 1-to-1.5, a 1-to-2 to target. I really need to incorporate that into my trading. I'm actually working with I'm starting to work with the risk calculator that I got from Brannigan's crew, but I'm still in the learning curve of how to apply it to my actual trade. But I know that's something that I'm really missing, knowing how much size to put in based on where my stop is. My protective stop always starts below structure, and I just look to drag it up to move it up below, in this case, pivot lows. I'm trading short my pivot highs. I'm just looking to move that stop up based on structure, and my target also based on structure. If it's going to be that, in this case, supplies up above the pivot high, so my target is the trendline pivot high, whichever is closer inside the sandwich.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. It looks like you're getting about 16 points out of that move from 3 up to your target high, which is really good. and I believe you mentioned that your stop could be right around 2B. Is that correct? So that would be about
My
12-point stop.
my stop would be below that. Would start below that 2B wick. That's where my protective stop initiates, and then I start to move it up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Something maybe you can shoot for a goal is to have like maybe a 2-to-1 risk reward, but that's up to you, whatever you decide. And yeah, your time frame, and also how do you calculate your demand and supplies, if you don't mind?
So those factor into each other. So my higher time frame, I start. I look at a daily. I don't plot any supply and demand on the daily. I started at an 11 and a half hour, and I just hammer down 11 and a half hour, 4 hour, 3 hour, 2 hour, 90-minute, and 1 hour. I plot my supply and demand. I'm looking for a rally-based rally, a drop-based drop, a rally-based drop, vice versa, right? If I'm plotting supply, I'm looking for that green candle to be my base. If I'm plotting demand, I'm looking for that red candle to be my base. And that's where I set my demand or supply zone. I drag that zone out to either the high or low of that same base candle. And all those time frames from 11 and a half hour down to 1 hour, I consider my higher time frame. And that stuff I will drag from pre-market, from previous days, even from previous weeks. I'll continue to drag that stuff to the right until it's invalidated. I don't consider it invalidated until price closes on the opposite side of that zone. So if I'm invalidating supply, I need price to close above that zone, then I'll remove it from my analysis. Intraday, I'll go much lower. I'll use a 30, a 15, a 5. I've been known to grab low time frame supply off a 3,000 volume chart, 2-minute chart, but no further than I'd say 90 minutes before the bell. I'm not going to grab anything left of that for intraday supply and demand on the low time frame.
Okay,
Those
terrific.
low,
Yeah.
those low time frame zones though can be extremely reactive. It's pretty amazing.
Now, when you talk about low time frame, are you talking about maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes?
Anything below an hour. If I got a 45, a 30, a 5-minute, if I'm doing it on my 3,000 volume chart, which I execute my CQG platform on, that's where most of my live trading is done, on a 3,000 volume chart. I'm executing on the DOM, but I'm looking at a 3,000 volume chart, and occasionally I'll grab a intraday low time frame supply or demand on that chart as well. It tends to line up right around with about a 2-minute on the ES when volume is normal.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, that's all I have to add. But good job. Yeah, keep it going. Outstanding.
Will do.
Great
I
questions.
very much appreciate the coaching, guys. It helps so much. Like what we talked about last week. I'm working on applying that. I've been having some conversations with Donkey about current market conditions, the change, and how to deal with the emotions or the feelings that come with just just an entire conditional change in the market, and you're trading one way, and then before you even realize it, the market's doing something completely different. We just went from these insane volatile moves to just this slow grind.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just had a quick comment on here, and that was it, really, because I mean you've gone over. Well, I never knew about the 2B variation, but the just in order flow wise, like this chart, like you said, it was interesting to hear you say like you've been studying this chart, and all of a sudden like you have really started to appreciate it. putting footprint on top of the heat map. And I totally agree. Like, you started off with Axia futures, looking at this kind of delta and then total
Yes.
volume, and then starting to understand when we see the shift and change in that. Well, so you have the aggressor here, supply and demand, no problem. That's right in the footprint chart. You've got
Yes.
the delta bars here, but just you don't have now you have the context with Bookmap looking at the high liquidity and hitting it, absorbing it. You're marking absorption up here on the footprint chart with the heat map here. And you've got a beautiful reversal right in here. It also is kind of up here. I mean, it's trading into high liquidity, can't get through. You start to find those. So you have sellers here on the offer up in these areas here. And then you start to get the aggressive buyers starting to come in. It's coming in. They're going to drive it lower, and they drive it lower right into high liquidity. And then the process kind of starts again in here. Sellers driving it in, or driving it lower. Yeah, it hits some high liquidity, I think looks like in here. Hits it in here. And then you get the shift in the change again. So the beauty on this one here is like what you had mentioned. Look at that, that's hitting you over the head, and you got in right here,
Yeah, so those horizontal rectangles you see that I'm dragging out from previous rotations, you'll see they're coming from the volume, right? That one I get in right there comes from that volume on that previous rotation at 8, whatever that is, 15-ish. The next one is from the previous rotation before that. And it's literally I'm targeting that high delta level, and you see that because it's dark red. It's darker than the rest of the red.
Yeah.
Same thing in the next candle, darker than the rest of the red. And it's pretty amazing. I watch that stuff. I'm studying it really intensely, and just watching it play out. This trade was good because I took this trade live, that rotation, that reversal, with more size than I'm comfortable with, and it was a fantastic trade, but it wasn't by far from perfect execution. It was a quick, it wasn't a slow long trade. It kind of went down pretty fast when it reversed. It was a great trade. So this footprint chart was drawn live. And then the execution you see on my dots chart is the replay of me attempting to say, okay, I could execute that much better and pull much more out of it. And it actually took me several tries to nail that execution that you see on the other chart. But this footprint screenshot is from the live trade.
So where is it on the footprint chart in here? It's in here, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
right as price pulls above that little box and then comes back and retests it.
I don't understand why you don't think this is good execution. This is the place to get in. I feel.
Oh no, that's where I did get in. Getting out was a little. I didn't ride it all the way up to a target. I got out. I got back in, rode it up some more. I mean, it was a really good trade. I just want to solidify and replay that execution and where I can just tighten up the edges, make it robotic.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's just a beautiful example of this like shift and change from sell side into high liquidity buyers, passive accumulation, and then aggressive accumulation, and it really worked nicely for you.
We saw that multiple times today.
Yes, we did.
Nice one. And it just repeats again and again and again. And you got your 1, 2, 3 pattern. You see it all the time. You see the shift and change right in the 1, 2, 3 pattern. So great stuff, Shark.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for the coaching, guys. I really appreciate it. It's really having an impact on my trading.
Wow, wow, it's great to hear. All right, let's move on. I think David, you got another one. So thanks, Shark.
Yeah, no, great stuff, Shark, and great comments by Vinny. Appreciate those coming in there. Should we go
Yeah,
to John?
definitely. Yes, I think
John,
John's in here
please.
now. So let's jump
Yeah.
over.
Hello there, boys.
Hey,
Yeah,
John, how are you?
John,
Fine. How are you doing?
Doing well, sir.
very well, very well. I've got 3 charts from John covering 2 trades. These were the other day, John. I know that does now because you trade pretty frequently.
Uh-huh.
And they're similar sort of setups. They're, as always, John, as everyone in the academy, we've got some beautiful charts here, Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
Well annotated, well marked up, clear, easy to follow. The logic's there. You'll see there's a checklist in there as well. It's the usual marriage of using the great tools that we have within Bookmap, and also then some of the, if I dare say, the subcharts of Trader Map Pro, Trader Map Lite, and so forth. And of course, moving in with the larger elephant in the fridge in the room of the options market, and keeping an eye on that, how that sort of the moon effect on the tides, John, on that, so to speak. And it was a pleasure again trading with you today. John, which chart would you like to start with? We've got this one here, which is chart 1, and then I've got the checklist on the one below. So
Yeah, let's start with this one because this really sets it up.
Yeah.
I didn't have Hero that day.
Okay.
I think they were having a little technical issue there. But and this is really from one of the academy meetings where it was demonstrated the big liquidity. So I set this up and I've been looking at it and I noticed this early on, starting at around 11:40 or so Eastern time, that this huge liquidity was posted and the market went down to it. And at the same time, it's an area that we had prepared for in our pre-market planning from spot gamma, that 5750, which is equivalent to 5700 on the SPX. And so the two married together there was a great level to look at for a reversal. And it's hard to see on this chart, but as the market approached that 5750, that liquidity was canceled. That huge liquidity up there, it's hard to see, but even the one above it,
this one too.
they filled some of it, but most of it was canceled off. And so we started to place the reversal, and then now you can go to the second chart and you can see a more detailed view of what was going on and how I made my trade. So yeah, you can see there were some large sellers down there. Let me start off, back up just a little bit. Over on number 1, there's the key levels from spot gamma, which frame up what I do. Second, large liquidity down there at 5750, and then sellers, they failed to push down there. You had some large sellers come in where I have indicated at number 3, and then we had a quick reversal. And so I do those 40 ways from Sunday. I mean, I'm all over those. My stop is real tight. That's either going to work or it's not. It's going to
do or die. It's about 3 handles, I think, isn't it, John?
It is not much. It's real tight considering the amplitude of this move. And then on top of that, we have new liquidity coming up, making up my first target at 57.57. So there's 6 handles right there that I'm looking for that to go almost immediately, and it did. And I had my target pretty far up, but then it started to reverse with some decent volume, and I moved my target down, showing in number 8 to get out with essentially a 10 handle gain. So but that I love the Trader Map Pro program for that because I'm always looking for the bigger picture based on liquidity. I mean, I've gotten away from the bar charts actually. I'm just really want to focus on those high liquidity zones, especially where where they match up with key levels
With
from the
yeah,
options.
yeah.
So it's a great 1-2 punch, and
It is, it is. And those
and
volume bars at 1340 there, again, it's a little like we had with Sharkbalu there, Bruce.
Yeah.
Again, it's loud and proud
yeah,
as to what is
yeah,
going on.
yeah, no
Uh,
doubt there, no doubt,
yeah, yeah,
and that's none of this is easy, but it is easier when you see that.
yeah. When you see that, you feel you're going in the right direction. You got the wind behind you. I think you've said before, John. And
Yes,
those resting liquidities, I know it's something that Scott Bruce talks a lot about, but also our good friend Walter. John
right,
talks about that, and he often says it's like a telegraph from the institutions. They'll put those large areas in there with no intention of them getting filled. But
yeah.
it's there as a sort of message amongst the boys and girls as to this is where we're trying to get it to go.
Right, right. And then you can see after that, that volume kind of disappeared. And that's
Yeah,
why I was really quick to pull the trigger to get out, move my stop down, because I didn't have the volume follow through there
yeah,
to anticipate my exit target. So that's why I was pretty quick to pull that.
yeah. We
And
had
I,
something. I'm going to say something similar in the sort of final hour today. Uh, Similar sort of move as well. As you said, it is a rinse and repeat, isn't it?
yeah,
That's
yes, sir.
that,
It is.
that's for
Yep,
sure. No,
yep.
great
The hard
stuff.
part is waiting for it.
Yeah, yeah. We need to all be like Laura, as we said earlier on. Nice to see Laura around in the room. Vinny, catch the mic, sir, please.
Yes, sir, David. Yeah, John. Another one of your fabulous trades again. You post these trades in the room all the time, and they're always spot gamma on. And let me tell you, I'm not really up on the hero, so I know that you don't have it posted on here today, but I really like the way you went ahead and used your liquidity. And right at the very bottom, you have your passive orders, which is which was a great starting point for sure. It looks like there's a bit of a trend break there. I can't really see too far to the left, but if there is, that would be another nice indicator right here of a possible entry. You set your target right over there, and I can see your first target looks like liquidity there. You have passive orders are absorbed, so you let your trade continue right up to your target up above. And yeah, I don't see it's just a really great trade. Regarding your stop, it looks like you have your three handles, so it looks like it's 10 points and 3-point stop loss. So obviously that's pretty good. It's 3-to-1 risk reward, which is terrific. And yeah, you're just spot on again. This just keep going. Outstanding.
Yeah, yeah.
Effective, deadly, and effective. Sorry, Bruce.
Yeah. I mean, I just have to, concur and I mean, say exactly the same thing. A few nuances. I mean, well, first off, like again, John, I just really, really appreciate the conscious effort here and the clarity. Uh, it really it's really nice and it's a great thing to learn from. I mean, it just tells you high time frame levels, high liquidity, look for buyers, and you do this again and again and again. And, and the thing like you said is funny, you got to wait for it. But there's a couple nuances in here that I really, really like. Well, first off, like this is something to maybe consider. You do have high liquidity on the way down getting filled. And maybe you said it was kind of pulled in here, but it looks like it was filled in some of these areas. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's just not as big as the previous slide.
Right.
They're less than 100. So yeah, there was liquidity down there, Bruce, and it was leading it down to that fat body liquidity down there
Right.
at 57.50.
Right.
Yeah. Um, so at the onset, when that was trending down, it was following that liquidity and filling that liquidity. It was just walking it down. I just sat there and waited for it. I said, look at this. I know where this thing's going to, or I have an idea where this thing's going to go.
Yeah.
And that 5,700 was a huge gamma level that I anticipated to hold. And then when this started to unfold, I thought, oh, okay, we'll take a risk here. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And again, kind of similar to sharks, like, so we have the passive absorption on the way
Mhm.
down, and then boy, did you find buyers or what? You
Yeah.
know, uh,
Mhm.
and you were looking for that, you were waiting for it, and God, I'm just amazed with these entries. I'm just not comfortable doing that,
Mhm.
but you're just nailing it here. You are waiting for a little turnaround, right?
Yes,
Um,
I'm buying out the top of that dot. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So you are
the,
waiting for a little bit of buying.
yes.
And
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm not going to wait for the break of the trend line. No.
right, right.
Not going to do that because that'll be outside my risk tolerance. Instead of being 3 handles, now it's 6 or 7. And no, I
That's
don't
a
do that.
different game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Uh,
And what really makes it though is the preparation work before the market even opens. The prep work that I do between 3 and 4 a.m., looking at the levels that I get from spot gamma, that really helps frame it up. That 5,700 had been brewing for a couple of days now.
Mhm.
That just didn't happen that morning. That
No.
that had been sitting out there. That's been on our radar. So that really helps pull the trigger when you see that.
yeah. Again, I want to underscore that, like you say that just about every week, like that these higher time frame levels, and Rob Davis is in here. He was looking at spot gamma stuff before, and it was working well with him. And he had a higher time frame filter though, and it's just so important. Then it's the order flow around those higher time frame filters.
Yeah.
And you did something in here I really like. I think it's just fantastic because it's so visual too. Is okay, you found the buyers, and then you said, well, I reacted to this in here. They're not buying anymore. It is, look at that gap. I mean, like, my God. And you would look for them, a pullback in the buyers to come back in, and with all of this buying in here, I'd look for, okay, a little bit of a slowdown or exhaustion, a pullback, and then they should come right back in. And you said, no, I don't see them. I'm getting out. You took your
Mhm.
target from up here and you
Yep.
got out here.
Yes.
Just great. So you're reading, in real time, and you saw something in here that told you, like, this is not worth. I don't have the guys behind me here to push it
Right.
higher.
Precisely.
Yeah, yeah. So that those are the nuances I had. I don't know, John, or I mean, David or Vinny, if you had any other comments, or John.
Not on this chart, but if I can flip us to the third one, if there's any comments coming in,
Okay.
because this is within the next hour, John, and you've just rinsed and repeat side of cat crossover in here.
Oh, funny.
So
Yeah.
it's you go, John.
Yeah.
You just
Same
you
thing.
reload the gun, re-aim, off you
Yep.
go.
Yep. Same thing.
Same thing within the
Yep.
next hour,
Yes, sir.
30
Yep.
minutes. Yeah, same thing.
Yep. And after this, it's game over. Done.
Done.
Yeah.
Down the bar.
Yeah. 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 That really. Yeah. It's exactly right.
So
Knowing that level will be defended.
did this I'm just kind of curious, did this kind of do, like, something like this and go higher or not? Did it just die here and come back down?
I don't remember. To tell you
Mhm.
the truth, I don't remember. But I can tell you that my reasoning there was that new liquidity coming in at 64.75 or 65 even.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, when that new liquidity hit, I thought, oh, let me just take this.
Yeah.
Um, and that's still a nice, healthy trade right in my wheelhouse. 10 to 12 handles.
Yeah.
Um, this morning, I had this huge gain, but that's really abnormal for me. This is my wheelhouse, and I can make a living off this.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful stuff. Vinny.
Hey, John, yeah, hey, John, if you don't mind me asking, chime in over here and interrupt some of the experts, but what was your reasoning to get in long at that precise timing, right at the liquidity? The only reason why I ask, it's at the initial bottom right there, and I did see it consolidating. I just wanted to know what your thoughts are. If what was your inclination to really get in there? And or if not, wait until that consolidation period breakout.
Well, that
Right,
5700 SPX, which is expressed as 5750 here with the premium 5751, unless that's broken, Vinny, I see that as support, and I'm going to buy off of it.
very good. And you use your stop just below that liquidity
Just
line, correct?
exactly, yeah. And I didn't annotate this because it was the same thing, but my stops are real close, and I was able to get that first one off. That's usually located about the same place, either the high end of the previous range or the local liquidity, somewhere where I can get 3 to 5 handles off, enough to finance my participation on the second one. So it's going to be a win. It'll be a profitable trade at that point once I get that first one off. And I do use that to pay myself. So that gets into the kitty at the end of the month. But yes, essentially to answer your question, as long as that 5750 held, that was support. And there were a bunch of option players that wanted to hold that level, period, because that was a whole lot of risk for them if the market broke to the downside. You know, on the previous slide where we saw all that volume came in, that was a defense. They were defending that area without question. They were coming in and nailing that area, and I rode with it.
Yes,
So
and I wanted to add. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You finish.
So
I
unless
don't
and
know.
until that level's taken out, I'm looking to buy there. Yes, as long as you get a formation in Bookmap that allows me to justify it, and I did here. You know, we saw some selling coming in, just about 3 or 4 bars before I got in. You had a huge sell bar there, and they couldn't push through that area there at 57. Yeah, right there, Bruce. Exactly. So that's a failure for me. You know, if it's going to go down, it's going to go down from there. It's going to push down, and then it reversed, and that triggers my entry, and that allows me to put my stop pretty close there because if that fails, I don't want to be in it.
No.
And so
Yeah, very good.
a lot of times when people talk about putting their stop outside the structure, that's fine. But for me, um, these patterns that I see here with the volume dots and the volume bars, they do allow me to say if this breaks, I don't want to be in it. I don't want to ride it down to the lower structure low. There's no reason for me to do that because this failure should either work or not.
It's pretty binary, isn't it, John, on some of these key things, as Brent Shorter shouts out, as you're rightly saying, it's either going to hold
Yeah.
or just don't want to be in the way.
Yep.
Just
Yes,
don't
sir.
want to be in the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so there's no reason to give them those 3 or 4 handles to find out because that's where everybody else has their stops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, and just to add on, I'm assuming that since you exited a partial on the first target, that looks like it's probably about, I don't know, it's about 6 or 7 points, and then you let the other contract ride up into the exit target above. Do I have that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. So that first contract, Vinny, that pays me. And then the second contracts, they build the account. They grow the account. That's how that works.
Right. So yeah, typically you'll go ahead and apply 2 contracts to that, or at least 2 contracts. Do I have that
Always
correct?
even numbers. Always even numbers. Sometimes 3. So if there was VWAP in the way of this, sometimes I would put like a 3 lot on. But it's always in those multiples. So if it's a large account, it's 6 contracts. Or 4, but it's done in a 2 or 3 contract set. Yes.
And would you mind educating what would you do as a stop for that, letting that even number 1 extra contract go further? Would you go ahead and have it a stop just below the first target? How do you go about that one real quick in about 60 seconds?
In this one, I have 10 seconds. I didn't move it at all. I just let it work.
Okay, thank you.
Because of
Great job.
the way this area was trading back and forth, if you bring it up, you're going to get filled. So this is one of those where you're going to get paid either way. by taking that first
Okay.
contract off. And so I'll leave it about where it was. So on a net basis, worst case, I make 3 handles.
Okay, so you left the stop right where it was by
Pretty much.
that just under
Yeah.
the liquidity, or
Yeah, I did.
okay.
Yep. Yep. In this instance. Yeah. Now, when it goes up pretty sizable, I'm pretty quick to move that stop, but I still give it room because of this market is so nuts now. You can't get too close to it, and that's why
And even if yeah, and
important
even if
to
I'm
get
sorry,
that
go ahead.
first contract off to hedge off that risk because it is so dangerous right now.
And even if it did go below the liquidity, you still break out ahead no matter what because you
Exactly.
exited with first trade.
Exactly.
Thank you for educating us. Very good.
Yeah,
Great
great,
stuff, John.
great stuff. I just had a couple comments. I mean, like first off, it's almost a mirror image of the other one, and it's funny that it's the same behavior at the same level, just an hour later. A little more muted, maybe a little more choppy in here, where the first reaction was strong. This one, kind of chopped around before getting that reaction. But again, same thing, like, absorbing, aggressors. And the so there's a couple of things like you mentioned it kind of caught my ear there was that, and this is interesting to hear because these levels in here, levels are usually gamed pretty heavily. They pierce through it, they stop people out, they come back up above, they come back, and then you get the aggressors, and they'll move it away. Market makers or whatever, like gaming these little areas in here. But what you're saying is like these options levels are a little different. There's so much going on there. There's so much money there that they're highly defended, and if they break, it's going to be bad. So I don't know if have you found that to be the case, and if that's the case, you've got a great risk management tool of just waiting for the kind of almost the low tick of the day, getting in there with the least amount of risk because it should hold, and if it doesn't, you want to get out immediately.
Yeah, you nailed it. There's a lot of money there. The column isn't wide enough to show you, but that was a large gamma 1. And that's one of the great things about spot gamma. They'll not only give you the levels, 4 levels, but they will also give you how big they are by noting them as 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the largest is going to be 1. And this has been a huge level. And like I said before, it's one that has been there in the market at 5,700, basis the SPX.
Yeah,
So you nailed it. It was all about a whole lot of money sitting right there. And you're right. Sometimes they kind of mess around. I just don't think they had the bucks to do it.
I see.
I just
Yeah.
don't
And you
think they.
played the combo one today, John, didn't you? I think you took
Yeah, I
about
sure did.
35.
Yeah, I did a combo off the SPY, and that was huge.
That
Ran up
was.
35 handles.
Wow.
It did.
Yeah, it was great. As did
It
you,
was
right? I
great.
think you were right in
Well,
there.
yeah, I wasn't going to play my
Yeah, I
extra,
could
but
tell you.
yeah, we were mirror trading, weren't we?
He takes off for a while, comes back, Bruce. You think he'd be a little rusty? Not a chance. That's why he's putting on a clinic this morning in the spot gamma room. My goodness.
You're too kind,
Sometimes
mate.
I
You're too
wonder if
kind.
he's human.
Too kind, John. Too kind. Just trying to follow you, buddy.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, great stuff. Great stuff. I mean, there's one more thing. Like I know, you've nailed down your setup, and you've nailed down a fantastic account management and risk management system behind it that is working extremely well for you. And I don't want to mess that up, but I just got to say it. I mean, I still see it, you know. Because you've waited for this, you got it, you got some off. Do you ever think about getting back in again? And scaling in, because like there's some things here, and you had to wait through all of this, well, 10 minutes basically,
yeah,
and then this is presenting itself.
yeah, it sure is. That's a great point. Um, going through that little bit of consolidation, like you said, for 10 minutes, I'm getting a sigh of relief. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
But that's a very good point, and it would be an outstanding place to do that without question, because that first contract, taking that first one off, would finance that risk, and so you could trail that really close. That's an outstanding comment that that I could have improved my performance
Well,
in doing.
yeah, I mean, I'm really hesitant to bring stuff like that up because then, you know, it messes up everything. It could mess up everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they just keep as a grain of salt, you know. I mean, like,
Sure.
as a separate study,
Yeah.
is this something that is worthy to look into?
Yeah, I do add on. Generally, what the catalyst for me to add on is when I see additional liquidity being added.
Uh-huh.
And you did have it up there, but I do need to be more cognizant of volume coming into the market as well. But I am pretty quick to add when I see a lot of liquidity near my target being added. Then I will do that. But yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Great. Great.
yeah.
Yeah. Vinny and David, any more comments?
No comments other than you hit the point right on, Bruce, regarding the consolidation breakout. That was something that I would probably look to enter there, but obviously John did a much better job at his entry, so he knows his technique and his setup very, very well. And the only other comment I would mention would be the stop. If once you go ahead and take the initial exit off your one share and as that stock moves higher, a consideration would be to maybe move up your stop to where that break was in the consolidation. I know it fluctuates a whole lot, and we never know if it's really going to go all the way up to your final exit target, and so that's just a consolidation just to consider. But otherwise, I'm not going to say anything. Your setup is terrific.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. It's we always do say something, but we probably shouldn't,
No.
So
Oh,
yeah,
yes, all right.
great stuff, John. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Definitely
you,
great
sir.
stuff. Great stuff.
All right, let's see here. Who is up next? Oh yeah, you've got Malik.
I have, but he can't join us on the mic, so I'm not necessarily looking to bump him.
Okay.
Is there someone else on the roster that's in the room?
Yeah, let's take a look here.
Great chart by Malik. Fantastic chart.
Yeah. His charts. He's got the setups checklist in here and everything. So he's got some good stuff going on.
The only broad comment was the subchart just doesn't seem to be working at the moment on those charts, but it could have just been a bit of a glitch or whatever.
What has he got in the subchart?
He's got ice running. He's got stops running. You'll see it on one of the. Yeah. So he's got a fair bit of jazz going on, but it's just not. It's not
Icebergs.
printing. And of course, these are screen grabs out of Discord, so it's not like it's David's screen. Oh, I can talk now. In you can, buddy, please. My bad, Malik. My bad.
All right. It's where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay. Welcome. You're muted, Malik.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can. Good evening.
Okay. Hi guys. Good evening. Good evening.
How are you keeping? Having a good week?
Yeah, it's been all right. Just working hard at my 9-to-5 job, so kind of trying to squeeze this in a little bit.
Well, great. You can join us. Nice use of ORB. Which chart would you like to start with? Because we've got, I think, Bruce, have I got 3?
4, I think.
I've got 4, my bad. Yeah. This is your 360 fire strategy of failures at VWAPs and so forth, and Wyckoff springs.
Right now,
yeah.
Right now I'm on my phone, so I can't really see as well. Let me see. I believe the first one is like the context of the trade. The second one is, I think, more of an execution, or the third one. I think I'd like to speak on the execution of the trade.
The third one,
I
yeah.
think,
This one
I
here?
think this would be, yeah, I
Next
Okay.
one. Oh, okay.
think so.
Okay. So yeah, take it away.
Okay, so I believe this was after I missed Blackstone strategy. So price action started to fall. So I was looking for a pullback to around VWAP or +1 deviation. So the strategy is basically entering a downtrend while it's taking place. So I'm trying to catch one of those lower points of supply to pull back so I can get my entry. So usually at the entry, I'm looking for a mini distribution pattern or like a buying exhaustion. I'm looking for a low volume retracement back to VWAP or that +1 deviation. In this case, it's VWAP.
Yeah. Well, David, any comments you had?
Yeah, no, I think just on the chart, on the volume bars, you're running this sort of showing the buys and the sells. Have you tried the net deltas at all? And this is sort of your preferred approach.
This is my preferred approach.
Cool.
I don't really want the delta to make those calculations for me. I want to see the split between the buyers and the sellers.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, exactly. It's about finding what we like. On the bubbles, I use like you've got, but on the bars, I use the delta. Do you have access also to the Trader Map Lite at all to be able to sort of clean up the chart?
Yes, I do. But when I'm taking these screenshots,
Okay.
I kind of opt for this one because certain indicators, like I think it's like the sweeps, a lot of them don't transfer on the sub chart.
They don't. No.
Yeah, so I kind of have to stick over here. And I have a little problem with latency when I use my market pulse because I have a lot of market pulse indicators up, and
Yeah.
they're on the sub chart as well. They're part of my strategy, but um, I think it's a little confusing when I'm taking the screenshots to really explain all of those at the same time. So I don't want it to get too messy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Well, you saw my tick chart earlier on. I mean, that is a Picasso. On your sub chart, I don't know. Maybe it's just on these particular posts. There's not really much going on in terms of
Yeah,
the lines. There's the dials on the right, but not the lines. Is that something you see
that's
every now and then?
That's because I took off the market pulse. So that would be filled with market pulse, absorption,
Okay.
sweeps, stuff like that.
Got you. No, I mean, there's not a lot to add. You got on the final chart, Bruce. We've got the checklist that Malik's been working through. I really do like the way you've laid out the four charts. So you're laying out the strategy, the higher time frame on what you're trying to
Yeah,
do. You then got the execution chart, which is after the newsprint at 10 o'clock. Yeah,
yeah.
it's easy to follow, easy to read, and you're following the rules very, very strictly. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
great. Let
And
me.
the way,
Sorry,
sorry, go
my
ahead.
bad. No, my bad.
The way I'm reading order flow is based on the Wyckoff theory, right? And I think you could really see more in depth of the Wyckoff theory within Bookmap and the order flow, because on candlestick charts, it's a little less detailed. Plus, after looking at the order flow in Bookmap for a while, you basically see this distribution and accumulation structures all the time. It's like all day. So I'm executing around my levels like Camarilla R3, Camarilla S3, stuff like
Yeah,
that. So, you know, there is rotations all the time, but I have to execute at certain places, right? So those are my choice places to execute. I want to find a distribution around Camarilla R3. I want to
yes.
find an accumulation around Camarilla S3, you know?
They're very effective. I know quite a few of us in the room run that, and I do run that on most of my charts, on my ninja charts anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're good, very, very good levels.
Yeah.
Vinny, sir.
Yes, David. Okay. Yeah. Malik, you have your own YouTube channel, and
Yeah.
fire, nice strategy that you have. Yes, yes. I know you need 700 likes. Well, I like what I gave you a like, so you just need
No, it's
699.
actually subs, not likes. I need subs.
I'm sorry. Okay, subs. Okay, okay. Regarding your trade over here, I really like your setup. You really have a unique setup of your own, and it looks like you went short on this. And I also
Yeah.
noticed you have some lower highs involved in it as well, and you use the VWAP as your entry. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Right, right. And I saw your target as well. I
Yeah.
also read that, hey, we sometimes we freeze a little bit, don't we? And
Yeah.
we miss the bottom sometimes, but the way you exited with profit. So bravo, that was very good that you did that. You stayed disciplined and you were able to go ahead
Yeah.
and exit with profit. So that was really good.
Thank
The
you.
only thing I would also suggest, well, not suggest, but also ask regarding your subcharts. I see that you have some icebergs on it. I don't know if you have the CVD or VPI in the subchart. I don't know if you used that before, but that might be something that you can consider. And I really like your knowledge of the Wyckoff theory as well, and applying it for this type of a trade. And yeah, that's all I have to say right now. But otherwise, you have a really unique strategy and YouTube, so keep going.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great
Thank you.
points, Vinny. Bruce, sir. Throw the ball to you. Monday morning quarterback. We haven't had Monday morning quarterbacks yet, have we?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just kind of like on repeat here. I just kind of see the same things. I know that he had Malik, you have your reasons for not using the Delta and also maybe the Trader Map Lite or Trader Map Pro. Um, uh, but you're starting to see the same things again: liquidity getting filled, big liquidity popping in, big liquidity, also in here, and now you've got another thing, is you've got your lines. So this is your VWAP, right? So this is standard deviation 1, 2, and I don't know if this is 2.5 and 3.
2.5. 2.5.
Okay, 2.5. So now if this is something that you've studied, you have your higher time frame filter now. So now you're looking for order flow around that area, and you're getting it here. And now you're looking for the aggressors to come in.
Yeah.
So because we know that the passive order is getting filled, we've got that element, and they break the structure here. Then you get this kind of shift and change again. I just don't see this is really odd. I mean, we're looking at the S&P from Rhythmic. It looks more like a stock to me. I know we're looking at 30 seconds of data, but like, boy, I would just look for a lot more delta, and it's just one kind of big, area right here, and that's it. Kind of dwarfs everything else. But I don't know. That's what I see. Those are my comments.
So where you drew that line above the big bubble, that's kind of where I exited the trade.
Up here?
So yeah,
Okay.
no. It's in line with the top of the consolidation prior to the big bubble.
I'm sorry, you lost me again. Say it again.
So the prior consolidation.
Here.
The top of that.
Here.
Yep.
Okay.
Top. No. Just a little small auction before the big bubble.
Oh, right in here.
So the one on top of it, the top of that is where I exited, kind of roughly.
Okay.
It was 58, 15, 25, I believe.
Okay, so in this area here?
Kind of a little higher.
A little higher in here.
Yeah,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
after the big bubble came in, after the buyer came in, that's when I froze and I exited because I was supposed to exit as soon as the big buyer came in,
Hmm.
but I kind of hesitated a little bit.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
be honest, to your point, coming down to second lower deviation, I should have exited the trade there and just called it a day because that's kind of like VWAP to second lower deviation, and that's a perfect trade right there. But I was trying to get a little more at overnight lows, so that's why I got caught up with losing some of it, I guess.
I see. Yeah. I mean, again, I think I can't comment on that because that's something you would be back testing, or this is a part of your strategy. You're looking for your high probability or your trade to hit that second standard deviation. That's your higher time
Mhm.
frame filter, and I don't know what studies you have, but I can give comment on is what I see in the order flow around this
Right.
level, and
Yeah.
yeah, there's something happening there for sure. And
Yeah.
in fact, you can even see, like, the trend line kind of slowly kind of starting to wane a little bit or flatten a little
Yeah.
bit, and then it breaks, and then you get the equal high up here. So it is
Yes.
starting to turn around. And
Yes.
so you do have your higher time frame, and then you do have the liquidity uh, together with.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, Bruce, real quick. Yeah, you would have thought that maybe this would have rode down even further to the I believe that's the 5810 where the
Right.
higher liquidity,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
looks like it failed, and Malik
Yeah.
must have been aware of that, and he exited a little sooner. Is my
Yeah.
assumption.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. So you're just kind of yeah, reducing the risk. It's just kind of a, like I said, it's an odd looking chart for some reason. Like this big kind of liquidity in here all of a sudden is really kind of stands out in a weird way.
Mhm.
And anyway, what? So is this East Coast time?
Yes.
Ah, okay, all right. So boy, you must have your dots filtered, right?
Um, no, I think it's on total volume,
It's on total
I
volume,
believe.
and no filter though.
No, no.
Okay, okay.
I think it's skewed because of like the big buying coming in and maybe those
Yeah,
other volume bars just dropped.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's usually not like that. You see much more volume.
yeah, yeah. You're probably
Like my
right.
bars are a lot bigger.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Uh, all right. So let's see.
Did John have any comments if you're still with us? Sorry,
Yeah,
Bruce.
yeah. John's still on. John, I don't know if you have any comments. Might be away. He's muted.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's see here.
Change gears.
Yeah, yeah. David, anything else you wanted to mention on any of these charts in here?
No, just reiterate, great trading, great charting, and I think, as we said, some unique setups, which is always good to see people using the tools in a slightly different way to rinse some greenery out of the market. So well done, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Let's see here. Else do we have in the room? So I have assigned some new guys, and I'm looking for them
Nice.
in here. So Dan Yu and JS Pips and Alan IM. But I don't see any of them in here. So let's see who we jump to here. Let's see if got something from Moby cover here. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. Is this up? D. Is D in here? D. No. Okay. Okay. And then we have D&T Matter. So yeah. So let's and he's in here. So let's invite him up to the stage. It's in here. Some nice markups. That's for sure.
Beautiful.
Okay. So this is back on the 18th. This is old, actually. Maybe we can get a newer one in here. See, 320, 20. It's maybe this one.
Lunchtime trade, fella. Well done.
Yeah, yeah. So why don't we go over this one, if you don't mind, D&T?
Oh yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Welcome.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So this was an absorption zone continuation trade. There's a big, what is it? Yeah, so impulse up, market goes up to the and then makes this absorption zone, the small absorption zone here, and it made that zone your second circle by breaking through ice. So this ice was on the offer trailing, and then market just pushes right through it, creates this absorption zone, goes a little bit higher, and then pulls back to it. And this was a continuation long. And so, the volume, like what Shark was saying earlier, the volume is like so low, it makes it kind of difficult for like, what is it? So this is like 12:30 Eastern time here, and it just seems like even though that was a strong move up, the momentum still seems to be like, I don't know how you would put it, but it's just hard to kind of get these targets. And this was after some wild volatility that we've had, and then we go down to this like steep drop in volatility, and it's just having a bit of an issue. So my target was actually, if you go to the right a little bit on my columns, I think my target was previous settlement. Yeah, and you can see it came right. It came, it failed like a few ticks, and then the market just pulls all the way back to my entry. And I was anticipating this. So I took. You could see my other entries, my ads, where I have the number 2 in the yellow. This was another absorption zone here, and I thought this would be a good ad, and it looked like it was gonna be. It grabbed this liquidity on the lower end here, and you can see ice just kind of capped the top right there and just pushed it down right back to my entry. Yep, right there. And you can see the little blue. Yep, little blue lines.
Yeah.
Right where the 2 is at. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
It just capped it and just pushed it right back down to where I was, and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. I just couldn't believe it. Like, this market is just like went from, I don't know. I mean, it looked like the momentum was there, but the market just didn't want it. And I ended up moving my stop down on these ads, and then my break even. I just put my stop to break even basically, and the market comes right down to the tick and takes me to break even, and then moves all the way back up to my initial target, which was a previous settlement. So I've been having a hard time the previous volatility that we've had, and then I've had a hard time adjusting to this. I don't know. It's not really lack of volatility because it's still there, but it just went from extreme swings to this like I don't even know what you would call it. It's just like it just went from from extreme to one extreme to the other, you know. So I've been having quite a bit of a difficulty navigating it. One thing I have been noting though is when the market's not like when the market starts like chopping these zones or chopping these areas, I need to put some brakes on myself. So that's something that I'm kind of going back and forth with. Yeah, but anyways, this is the absorption zone continuation trade here. That first trade, and then the second entry, these adds was the same trade pretty much.
Yeah.
Absorption zone continuation. It just didn't work out this time.
Yeah, but yeah, I've got some just a comment on that, and I'll turn it over to the guys. But you broke even on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Or maybe a slight gain, a slight loss, whatever. Like, you basically broke even on it. And that is deflating. But you're not like, it maybe takes a little wind out of your sail. At least it does for me, like, but you knew kind of what you were doing. You gave it a shot. You scaled in. And my comment is only here. It's nothing on the charts at the moment. It's just like psychologically how that affects you, and note that, like, you're kind of like, kind of down on the markets because these markets are volatile, and you had a good trade and you gave it back, and but that's kind of, it kind of happens a lot, and then just maybe readjust a little bit. Okay, so the market seemed to be doing that. Well, then how can maybe I'm just going from liquidity to liquidity, and don't worry about it. Maybe it continues to go, but I'm not doing that. I'm just looking for this move. And maybe that helps you, hit more of a kind of a single or a double, not a triple or a home run. Anyway, just because
adjusting to the market conditions might make sense.
And also how mentally it affects you. Like you feel so much better of like, well, yeah, not bad, but you won't get complacent necessarily, but you made maybe a little bit of money, and that keeps you motivated for the next day, and it's just we want to avoid the downward spiral, and that can really put you in a slump. So well done that you kind of manage this. I see, actively moving your stops around, and I would then go back and take a look at some of these areas. I mean, it hit another area of high liquidity at an important swing, for this time frame at least. We had a big reaction out of this before, and you might look for another big reaction out of it. I liked your idea. I probably would have done the same. You got a swing, you've got liquidity, it's in an uptrend, seems to have momentum. The question I would say is like, does it have momentum though?
Yeah. I was going to say the color of those bars as well, Bruce, started chopping. Yeah, it's great on the far left in terms of green bars, but the volume's dropping off and they're red, and you're going long.
Yeah, exactly. And then this one. So on this one, like maybe the momentum is kind of done here at that point. And I mean, it does kind of pick up again, but that's something maybe to look at. Anyway, let me turn it over to Vinny and David. David, why don't you go?
Thank you. Okay, if you don't mind, Vinny. Yeah. The broader sort of tip, or let's say how I sort of trade. You take today, when the market was screaming off, as those sort of screens knew that, and then it started to pull back. similar thing I've said in many weeks before is that I'm triangulating with the individual stocks. Now, sure, I have a lot of systems going, as you know, a lot of data and so forth, but today's rally for me was led primarily by Tesla, that was going big guns, also Nvidia, that was going big guns, but those started to fade. As soon as those started to fade, then I knew I had to tighten in what I was doing on ES, as John and I were talking about 5-10 minutes ago or so forth. So if there is a way you can have a wider pitch to look at some of the big tech stocks that make up this index, that will give you perhaps a little bit more confidence there, where are we going to go up to that? Are we going to crash from the level you want at number 2? And if you're looking at those big techs and you see they're running out of steam and there's some selling going on, that's also another clue that perhaps we're not going to get to that level this very moment or even today. That's what I sort of put into the mix. But Vinny, sir, over to you, please.
That makes sense.
Yes, David, thank you. DNT.
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
that makes sense.
DNT, you definitely bring up these charts that are just dynamite. I mean, right off the bat, I can see right around 12:10, you have some passive orders absorbed right at that liquidity level. Bruce, you could probably show it right to your left. So
boy,
right around.
I'm sorry, I can't see anything at the moment here. Okay, yeah, now I got it. 12:10.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, right to your left. So about just go up a little. Yeah, right between. Just go up a little further now. Now we're left.
Hold on a minute here. Let me get my bearings. Right, because he's got such a high resolution. Yeah, and it still doesn't show. Oh no, it shows. What am I talking about?
This is really good. I really like what he has here. But
Okay.
yeah, right between 12 and 12:15. You go a little further. There's their big red line over there. So that's your liquidity that you have. Further up.
Yeah.
Up, right there. There we go. There's your one. So right there, you have your passive orders absorbed right there. And now it's starting to consolidate a little bit. So that could be something where you can consider maybe taking an entry. Now it goes up to the next one and has passive orders absorbed as well. So there's one, there's two, and then it goes up to the higher liquidity right around, I think 5,700 is what you have. So that could have been a target for you to exit. So that could have been a trade. Now the trade that you're looking at right now, what you're focusing on, is from 5,700 to 5,690. That area is consolidating. That's just the area where you're looking at. So this is really a really good opportunity to go ahead. Now you have your support there at 5,690, and it's consolidating. So you zoned in perfectly on it. And now once it breaks, it goes over and hits your target at 5,705. So now you have a pretty good, 5 or 10 point, 5 or 10 points there. And then it goes up to the next liquidity line at 5,710. Now it didn't go up to where your initial target was, but still, so those are several trades that you could have maybe considered entering on. But what you have, your chart here, I think is really outstanding, and that's something to consider in the future. I really like what you have over here with your checklist. You have your checklist right on track over there, which is awesome. And yeah, that's all I have to add. And if you have any questions, just let me know.
Bro, Vinny, man. Vinny with those breakout trades, bro. You're a beast. I see it though.
You see it? Okay, good.
You're a breakout beast, bro. I know that. You keep me on my toes, man.
Fantastic. Great
TNT, I tell you, it's dynamite chart you have here. Nice going, nice pickup.
Beautiful charting. Bruce, can I ask you to pick up my chart in the chat? And sorry to sort of labor the point on today, those that were trading. So I've just put up the Tesla chart in the chat, Bruce.
Okay.
You'll see. Yeah. So this is obviously all Eastern time. The white line is the price. It's going all guns, wasn't it? It was going up from early 270s and it's getting up towards 290. Then it starts to fade. Forget the other lines on the chart. That price is starting to fade, and it was the same with Nvidia. That's then telling me as a futures ES trader that now is not the time to go long. Now is the time to sort of reassess, tighten up my stops, bootleg, all those sort of phrases, or just get out of the casino, as John would say. so to speak. So if you can look at the constituents, I really urge you all to, please. Bruce, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, basically, let me correct me if I'm wrong, David. So what you're talking about is bringing in a higher time frame filter.
You can say that. Yeah.
I mean,
triangulation, correlation.
Yeah, some sort of correlation. Because you saw something up in here at this time it was telling you somewhere else, not on this chart. We covered maybe the volume, but but not on this chart, but on something else that is telling you I don't trade long at this point.
Yeah, whether I want to go short is another conversation, but certainly now is not the time to get long, because I'm seeing the big tech fade back, people taking profits, time of day, London close, all that jazz. But that's, for me anyway, a very useful lens that I use.
I'd have to go back and take a look on the 21st. Maybe you have some screenshots saved from that day of what happened maybe around that time. This is Eastern. So, David, what I've noticed is a couple things. One is the London close. You guys still, until the end of this week, is it you guys? Yeah. So this week is the end of the daylight it's like the end of daylight savings or whatever, right at the beginning. And so that kind of has been messing with me, because I kind of relied on the 11:30 London close, but now since it's like 12:30 London Eastern time for London close, it's really screwed with me. And I've had a really hard time adapting to that. And good to hear that it's not easy.
It's not easy. No. Yeah,
it's really difficult. So that's one thing. The other thing is okay, so you're homing in on Tesla and Nvidia, the stocks that are basically kind of moving the market on these particular days. Like just this week has or like just since yesterday, I think was like auto, and or maybe even last week it was Tesla moving the market. But see, I'm looking at Hero on the equities and it's instead of homing in on just like maybe a couple stocks, I'm looking at the broader Hero instead of just the which is still it's difficult to gauge that overall Hero, the basket and the index. But I like the idea of homing in on just one or two of that are actually driving the market that day.
That's it. Yeah, it's looking at those individual players. Like you, I do look at the spiders, look at the SP 500 Hero, and all these things, and flip between them. And I do my best to sort of see what is the Mag 7, what is the tail wagging the dog. And as you say, today it was Tesla through and through. And that then becomes my focus. When that starts to fade, I know then the party's over. Let's drink up and let's leave, so to speak. So if you can flick across that, if you've got DX feed on Bookmap, again, just flicking through. And I think Jack is the master on that, Bruce, because he talks about flicking between charts. I'm an old dog, so I don't flick through too many. He's forever flicking through things. And today when we had that fade back, he was shouting out, I think we've run out of gas, we've run out of this. And all of us are then looking at different charts, posting them, sharing them, going, come on, let's go. It's done. We're not going to get to. And on today, it's the vol trigger we were hoping to get up to, and it just didn't get there. It was about 5 handles short, I think, and then bang, it starts to slide brutally back down.
Wow.
But just ideas. Don't get me wrong.
Thank God this week is. Yeah, no, I get it. That's a good one. Thank God this week's almost done. Get back to that normal time frame on London close.
Oh, big time. Yeah, and all my charts, because my ORBs, I'm a lazy guy, so all my ORBs and everything else are all wrong at the moment because they're not aligned. If we were doing this video, Bruce, when you and I first started talking 2019, 2020 around there, I didn't chart all the fangs, the mags and that. I was just looking at NQ, and I used to do that with Tom. So Tom and me would have ES and NQ. And that was another sort of good correlation lens in terms of what is happening on ES. It's a little bit more responsive to what's going on. But now, I break it all down. Doesn't always work. Don't get me wrong. It's not, it's not foolproof. But
Huh.
if I can ape what John said earlier on today, it was a bit of a clinic that we were running in terms of the charts. Yeah. But great chatting here, buddy. Great chatting. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'll check out what Vinny mentioned earlier too. That was pretty. I like that breakout trade.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Let's see if who else do we have in just a second. So Rob Davis, I'm looking for something. I don't know if you've. I mean, look, every Tuesday, Dan. We put together the list. He puts together a coaching list of like, these are the people we covered before. These are the people who have content, and these are the people we want to cover this week. But if you guys don't have content, we don't cover you. I mean, we don't. It's not like we're being picky and choosy in here. We want to bring you up to the stage and go over your stuff. But if you don't have anything new in the spreadsheet, then there's nothing we can do. Let's see. Trading is life. We covered you last week. I know. And also Laura, who I think she just bailed. But we covered her, I think, last week as well. So I know, Stephen, I think we covered you recently. And Rob, it's been a little while, I think. So if you have anything in here, or you want to post in the chat, maybe we can take a quick. Or we can look at another a DNT if there's something in particular here that really kind of stood out you wanted to cover.
Um,
You got pre-FOMC here. You got post-FOMC. Got your absorption zone continuation.
yeah, I've been focusing on these absorption zones, taking trades on them. If I don't have the direction right, like the breakout trades is are kind of tough. So, if like talking about what Vinny mentioned before, what did you mention, Vinny? When the market's making that reversal and it goes through the passive liquidity like that, and it comes back and it does like a slight pullback to that area, right? How do you know,
Right.
or how do you take that long?
Well, for your particular setup, I look for the consolidation when you have those passive orders that are absorbed. It develops a support line. And so what you can do is you can watch for a pullback to that support line, and then you can have your stop underneath it, and then you can enter when it holds. And then you can go ahead and just like what we talked about, then it consolidates. Then you can go ahead and look for your liquidity above as a target. And don't forget your risk reward would also be pretty good as well, because your stop is only going to be a few points, whereas your potential target could be 2 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
But with something we can go over if you want in a DM later on.
Got you. Yeah, I see you posting those all the time, right?
I try to, yes, I do try to post some of them. But
Okay,
but your
so-
chart is fabulous. Yeah, again, you have it right there. It's right in front of you, and you I can see you're annotating it right. You're annotating it as well. So you have the idea. It just needs to execute at a specific time. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
once you go over this 1, 2, or 3 times, it's going to start clicking into you very quickly. And then you're going to be able to see it visually, and then you're going to be able to see it. Okay, where's this potential? Where can this go? And you and any other traders that are in the room right now can also use this similar strategy that you have set up right now in your posting. And I'll be happy to go over it, one-on-one if you want at a later date.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Interesting.
Yeah, I would say another thing, DNT, like that Shark is doing, it is, I think, and Laura is doing this as well.
Hmm.
I think it is the training. This is something I hope we can talk more about in this next quarter and rest of the year, basically, about being more diligent and with the training. Like you've got your charts, you marked them up, they're beautiful. Uh, that's really good. Go back in replay mode, play it again, and trade it. Shark had said something here that I thought was great. Like he went back and he traded it like 3, 4 times or 7 times, I think.
Hmm.
7 times. Is that right, Shark? Uh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. And that's gonna like your mental your reaction and your mental memory like is going to you're gonna make that connection, and you're gonna know what it looks like, and it's a great way to further your training, and and see it in real time.
Heck yeah, I heard that too. That was really nice to hear.
Yeah, yeah. It was it's such a good tool. I'm convinced of it. So yeah, we'll try to get some feed files out to people later, maybe this quarter, next quarter, and some other things as well. Of like, hey, here's my setup. Here's where I took it. Go, you can download it and take a look at it and trade it yourself if you like, as well. So
Hey,
Right.
Bruce. Yeah, Bruce, just to chime in, you're absolutely right. That's one of the real advantages of that book map is that you can go into the replay mode. You're right. I can't tell you how many times that I've gone back into that and called it up and went over the trades. And that's the real asset. What we have here is book map is that you can go back and review previous days, trades with the ES or the NQ. So I'm sorry to interrupt.
yeah, no, it's fantastic. And Shark is saying right now, like he says it's extremely time consuming, but it's worth the effort in the long run. I mean, like probably Shark, like it probably is in the beginning, but maybe you start to kind of train yourself, and then it'll probably get a lot easier. I'm imagining, for you, because like yeah, in the beginning, like 7 times, whoa, like that you're gonna learn though, and like you said, in the long run, it should be well worth the effort. Anyway.
Yeah. Just one more thing, Bruce. I mean, what you can also do is you can screenshot it and put it in a PowerPoint, and then you can actually, look it over, at the end of the day or on the weekend, as part of as an education process for you regarding journaling as well, which we do as well, right, Bruce?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's nothing like it though. Like, I've done, replay modes, and it's like I knew my error in real time, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go replay that again, and I go back and I, you know, replay it like 2, 3 times. I make the same error, and I know better, you know.
Hmm. Yeah,
So it's like until you kind of break the habit, uh,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
try it. Just give it a shot. Like Shark says, it's going to be time consuming, but give it a shot and see if you get something out of it.
Yeah, I like the idea. Learning, it's like training your brain to the to react, to suppress the things that like are making you trade badly. So to suppress the bad things that are triggering you, and to focus in on the things that you should be focusing in on. So, like training your brain to bring down or to stop one thing and to actually focus in on something else, right?
Well,
Perfect.
it's
Muscle memory.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly. It's like you can understand the concept, but now can you walk the walk?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great, I think it's a good idea. I like the idea. That's definitely what I need to do.
Yeah, just give it a try. I mean, like, and give it a good try though. So, like Shark is telling us in advance here, it's been super, super time consuming for him. but you know, he's also like he's getting results. So anyway, guys, let's if there's anything else, Vinny, David.
Only I'd reiterate the playbacks there, Bruce. I've got to put my hands up. I haven't done that much on Bookmap, but if old stories, old man, if you were talking to me back in 2016, 2017, Saturday mornings, I would be on Ninja, and I'd be playing that game again, just to sort of reps and sets and muscle memory sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's well worth it if you can get the time.
And we can trade sim on the replays, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you as well.
Vinny, any parting comments? We'll wrap it up. I think it's almost been 2 hours, and it's about time, I think.
No, Bruce, David, you guys rock. You guys are the best. Actually, the entire room. I really like the camaraderie with all of us. We all try to help each other. And thanks again for just providing all the education that you do, and also from the traders as well in the room by sharing your content. I mean, it helps me out a lot as well. So thanks again.
Perfect. Thank you as well. Great community here, Bruce. Thank you. Great weekend ahead.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Cheers, guys. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.
Right.